everybody, it's Michaela Z at Your Moon Mom, and I have been deep diving into the world of EMFs for the last couple of months and taking you guys on the journey with me. But I wanted to pause and just take a moment to connect all the dots and to really give you my top 5 takeaways that I have had in the process of learning about EMFs. First thing that I have really realized in the process of learning about EMFs is the exponential increase and the exponential difference between 3G, 4G, 5G, and so on. So I always thought it was kind of like when we get a new iPhone. We get a new iPhone, it's pretty much the same as our last iPhone, but maybe it like takes a better selfie or has a really cool feature that they added to it. That is not how these bandwidth growths occur. You know, when we go back and look at 1G, 2G, 3G, they were operating in megahertz, which is 1,000 times different than what we are operating in now. So a lot of these research papers and studies that I have been showing you guys that are, you know, maybe 10 years old, they're using hertz and megahertz in these studies showing how EMF can cause cancer and so on and so on. 1 gigahertz is 1 million hertz. 1 gigahertz is 1,000 megahertz. And we're not just operating in 1 gigahertz, we're operating in 30 to 300 gigahertz if we're using 5G, and 3 to 5 gigahertz if we're using 4G. It blows my mind that we are allowed to just keep coming out with these new bandwidths without doing research. That was a huge eye-opener for me, because I'm like, okay, definitely important that we implement some protection for our family. Another thing that I've really started to realize is how EMFs are actually affecting our body, because I didn't really understand it fully before. So you see, electromagnetic hypersensitivity, it has such a wide range of symptoms. It has, fatigue, nausea, headaches, skin irritation, allergy. It's such a wide range. It would be so hard to pinpoint that what you are experiencing is hypersensitivity, because those symptoms are connected to so many other things, including oxidative stress. So when I started diving into how electromagnetic frequencies are actually affecting our body, what I came to realize is that they aren't necessarily the poison, okay? The best way I can explain how EMFs are actually affecting our body is to set it up as if it was like a battleground, okay? So let's say your body is like the castle that needs to be protected. Your castle has natural fighters built in. You've got natural walls put up. You got all kinds of natural mechanisms to make sure that your brain works properly, that your cells are working properly, that all your organs are working properly, and so on and so forth. The role that EMFs play in this is they basically are the front lines of your attackers. They're the ones that come in with like the battling rams and knock the doors down of the castle. They're penetrating holes in your blood-brain barrier. They are penetrating holes in your voltage-gated calcium channels, which are responsible for making sure that your cells are communicating properly with your brain. So all of these environmental toxins we're being exposed to on a daily basis, we're getting more of them because EMFs are penetrating our barriers, or penetrating these natural mechanisms. It makes sense that electromagnetic hypersensitivity has a long range of symptoms, because it would be hard to pinpoint exactly what EMFs are causing for you, because it depends on what your environmental toxins are and what you're being exposed to. What EMFs are for sure doing is they are making you more vulnerable to those toxins that you are around. This has huge implications on our natural immune system and our ability to fight things off on a daily basis, because now we are contending with EMFs on a daily basis. And we're not just contending with natural forms of EMF, we're contending with chaotic, incoherent frequencies that are being emitted from man-made devices that are not recognizable to our bodies. They're not consistent, so we can't adapt to them, and they're coming from everywhere. So huge implications on our body's natural immune function. The third takeaway that I have had throughout this process of learning about EMFs has been the one that's hit me the hardest, because it affects our family personally. Like, I have children, and so when I really realized how much more vulnerable children are to EMF exposure than adults, it really hit me differently, because it really made sense. I had just never really thought about it. Like, they are already contending with so much. They are trying to, their brains are still developing, their muscles and tissues are much more absorbent because they're still developing. They're building hormones, they're trying to build natural immunity. They're trying to build build all of these natural mechanisms and natural barriers that protect them in the long run and keep their body healthy and strong throughout their life. They're trying to do all of that at the same time that they are being literally attacked on a daily basis by EMFs, which are penetrating and infiltrating these mechanisms that their body is trying to build. So they are trying to build a natural immune system at the same time that it's constantly being knocked at. Out of all the things that I am learning throughout this process of deep diving into EMFs, this is the thing I think we need to all stop and recognize and do something about immediately, because there are cell phone towers being placed around schools, around playgrounds and parks and all of these different areas that children are hanging out on a daily basis. So until they do something about it and put some regulations in place, it's definitely our duty as parents to do what we can to ensure that they have some protection so that they can build a strong immune system for their future. So I've learned a lot about how EMFs are affecting our physical bodies throughout this process of diving into the world of EMFs. But I have also learned that EMFs are having a really big effect on our environment. There are actually decades of studies showing the implications that EMFs are having on bee colonies, like their ability to produce honey, their ability to communicate and navigate. Also, EMFs are affecting crab and lobster larvae. They're causing them to grow differently. They're causing them to not be able to get where they need to go in order to survive. And so many other studies showing that our environment is also being affected. I think an important thing to note right here is that EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, are a type of language. It's literally what we use to communicate through our phones, through our computers, through all of our different devices. But it's also what the environment uses to communicate. It's what bees use to communicate or to navigate, right? It's what our own body uses to communicate with our brain, communicate with our organs, and send signals here and there. So you can only imagine what kind of chaos is occurring within a bee colony or within our own bodies when there is this outside communication happening that is unrecognizable and inconsistent. We can't even begin to learn it because every frequency that comes off a man-made device is inconsistent. So it's definitely important that we look at this and we look at the environmental factors that EMFs are having. Rant over, moving on. The last thing that I've really gained from this experience so far is just how important it is to have this conversation about EMF. We use technology every day in our house. I'm using my phone right now to record this video. I use my computer to do research. I work from home. I make money from home using my phone and my computer. I am so grateful for technology. And that has not changed for me in the process of learning about EMFs. But what has changed is the level of necessity or the level of intent that I feel to make sure that people know about EMFs, to make sure that people are doing what they can to protect themselves, their family, their friends, anyone that they know. Doing all this research, it definitely didn't make me more fearful. I thought that it might. It actually made me feel more empowered because it was like I finally knew what is happening. You know, like it's like everything's laid out on the table. This is how EMFs are affecting us. Oh, and hey, this is what you can do about it. I'm honestly just super grateful to be able to partake in this conversation right now because I think that over the next few years, it's going to grow exponentially. People are going to start asking more questions about that, about EMFs, about the implications. And I'm really grateful to be able to partner with Aries Tech in this way and for them to have given me this platform to have a voice and to share my own personal experience while also being part of a solution. Because what the heck is the point of sharing all of this scary information with you if there is not a solution? So I'm really grateful to Aries Tech for bringing the solution, for having that solution, while also being realistic about the world that we live in and not demonizing technology, because technology has done wonders for a lot of people. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please comment below, share with your friends and family, and make sure to follow along if you want to learn more about the world of EMFs.